Well, Rise and Grind DMV, happy Saturday. We are waking up to partly cloudy skies across the region, and we're going to be tracking rain as we end out the weekend. So keep it here. We'll have a full breakdown of that forecast up next.
Also this morning on DC News Now, the No Kings Rally expected to bring in tens of thousands of people to DC later this morning. It's one of 2,500 rallies planned all across the country. Then a Maryland man will serve the rest of his life in prison for killing a beloved Greenbelt teacher. And why October is critical for breast cancer awareness, with early detection proven to save lives.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Happy Saturday morning, everyone. Thank you so much for watching DC News Now. I'm Susan Tran. Let's take a live look outside this morning. Woo!
Gorgeous.
I know. Look at this sunrise over the Capitol. And we have Brittany Ward, meteorologist, joining us now. You gave us that beautiful gift to start us off for the day.
You know, not a bad start to our Saturday. And I will say that picture kind of represents what we're going to be experiencing as we head through the rest of the day today. Definitely going to be the pick of the weekend. We're tracking a warm up. We're also going to be tracking those mostly dry conditions. Now, radar this morning showing a few isolated showers have popped up, especially out towards the west. Earlier today, we had a few light showers make their way through the Cumberland area, as well as parts of the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. Now it looks like a light sprinkle there in Winchester, but the rest of the area seeing those dry conditions. That will be the trend as we head through the rest of the day today. So yes, let's head back outside because I just can't get over how gorgeous this view is right now. A live look out towards the Capitol Dome. We're seeing those orange as well as those yellow hues as the sun begins to rise across the area. The official sunrise time today is at 7:21, so we're exactly 20 minutes away from the sun officially rising across the area. But we are waking up to a few clouds. That will be the trend as we head through much of the day today. A mix of sun and clouds, with those temperatures slowly beginning to rise. We're sitting in the upper 40s, back off to the north and west, lower 50s here in DC, 52 currently in DC, 51 as you head over there to Hagerstown, 47 right there in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So keep it here. We'll have a full breakdown of this forecast, what to expect as we end out the weekend with those rain showers coming up, Susan, in just a bit.
All right, looking forward to that, Brittany. Thank you. Now to the tens of thousands of people who are set to flood DC later this morning for the No Kings Rally. It's just one of more than 2,500 protests against President Trump that are planned all across the country. In fact, dozens had kicked off the weekend of demonstrations at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial yesterday. DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg was there and has more on what's driving people to these rallies.
USA! On the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, protesters with American flags flying and signs high in the air are making their voices heard.
I'm proud to kick off this No Kings weekend as a DC resident.
The first nationwide No Kings protest coincided with President Trump's military parade, drawing millions from across the country in their own communities.
We have to speak up now. We can't sit tight.
The theme of this kickoff rally, Defend Democracy, hosted by 5051 and Eagle Group Indivisible.
What we're doing is, raising up. We're protesting for justice, for democracy, and all the things that we want to restore to this country.
No Kings organizers say this weekend's protests were planned before the shutdown, but they say it makes it all the more important.
Because what's going on with the current administration is destroying our country and not paying any attention to our Constitution.
The Backbone campaign's impeachment chain gang made an appearance with speeches from public servants, activists, and veterans.
We're the only ones who take an oath not to a government, not to a family, not to a tyrant, not to a dictator, and not to a wannabe dictator. And we sure as hell don't take an oath to a king.
That was our Daniel Hamburg reporting. The events kick off with speeches later this morning at 9:30 over at 14th and U Streets in Northwest. Then they're set to march over to the main rally, which starts at noon in front of the Capitol at 3rd and Pennsylvania Avenue. There are also numerous similar No Kings events in Northern Virginia and Maryland. Two men in Maryland are accused in a staggering number of crimes. Swiping all of these tools and machinery, investigators say that they stole from nearly 40 sheds and cars in Prince George's County since June of 2024. Paul Mogul III is facing nearly 145 charges. There are also 100 charges against Christopher Talbot. Now, police say by the time they arrested the two, they had amassed a whole warehouse full of these leaf blowers, shop vacs, weed whackers, power tools, lawnmowers, and power washers are all stolen from the Beltsville area. Staying in Maryland now, and a man will spend the rest of his life in prison for the gruesome murder of a beloved Greenbelt teacher 2 years ago. And we do have to warn you, the details from this case are disturbing. DC News Now's Marielle Carbone has more from the sentencing.
The judge in this case calling this crime heinous. Now, Landon was not only convicted of murdering Miriam Sela, but of dismembering her body. And because of that, the judge sentenced him to life in prison, no parole.
Ms. Sela was an educator, a trusted member of our community, a teacher.
And now the man who murdered her will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Violence has to have the harshest of consequences.
Friday, a Prince George's County judge sentencing Harold Landon III to life, no parole. He was convicted in June of murdering beloved second-grade teacher Miriam Torrey Sela.
She was a peaceful person, and unfortunately, tragedy fell upon her.
Officials say the two were strangers and encountered each other while Sela was on her daily walk at Shroom Hills Park on July 29, 2023. When she didn't return home that night, she was reported missing. Search parties were organized almost immediately, and days later, her partial remains were found dumped in a pond in Clinton after a tip from a community member.
It was premeditated, it was calculating before, during, and after.
An attorney for Landon stated the Greenbelt man was using PCP, Percocets, and alcohol at the time, and that he couldn't recall what happened. He also pointed to an abusive childhood.
That the judge was clear that this wasn't something that he did out of some type of PCP rage or something like that, but he did this because he wanted to.
Prosecutors read from a letter written by Sela's son in court. He said the murder of his mother still haunts him. And prosecutors say that there is still an open investigation into this case right now because only partial remains of Sela have been recovered. Reporting from the Prince George's County Courthouse, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
Now to the government shutdown, which is set to head into week 4 as the senators are off for yet another long weekend. And both sides have shown no signs of backing down or finding any compromise. But there is word senators could be considering a proposal to pay some employees. GOP sources saying that Majority Leader John Thune plans to bring a bill to the floor next week to make sure federal workers who've been required to head into work during the shutdown, including active military, get paychecks. The measure, like the temporary budget plan, needs 60 votes to pass.
Democrats have already tried to pass a bill to keep the military paid through the shutdown, no matter how long it lasts, and Republicans blocked that bill.
House and Senate Republicans have voted to pass legislation to pay our troops. It's in the clean CR.
It is, though, unclear if the House, which is still out of session, would return to take up such a proposal. The Capital Area Food Bank, though, is ready to help federal workers by giving them boxes of food. Starting on Monday, you can pick up containers filled with pantry items and fresh produce. You just need to show your government ID. They'll have hundreds of boxes ready to go at 5 additional spots in the DMV. And you can find the full list of where you can pick up the food at our website, dcnewsnow.com. Just search Capital Area Food Bank. Maryland is also out with plans to help federal workers. Governor Wes Moore says all MARC and commuter bus service is now free when you show your federal ID. The offer lasts for the entirety of the shutdown. You can stay on top of the government shutdown by waking up with Sunrise on the Hill every weekday morning from 6 until 9. And host Corey Smith and Hillary Howard will have all the latest news and in-depth analysis from a whole team of reporters all across the DMV. It is set to be a gorgeous fall day, but winter preps have already started in D.C. The mayor says the district's snow team just finished up a full week of practice runs. Since Monday, crews have been testing equipment, making repairs, and restocking all that salt and brine, while plow drivers have been going through their routines. IT staff are fine-tuning the technology they use to track and deploy resources during the storms. The mayor says the D.C. snow team includes more than 800 workers and more than 200 heavy and light plows. All right, Brittany, I don't want to talk about the four-letter word snow. But
I love it.
Oh, of course you do. You're a meteorologist. I'm like, I just feel cold.
You're like, nope. Well, thankfully, I can tell you this. We are definitely not going to see any snow across the DMV as we head through the day today, even heading into the weekend. It's going to be a gorgeous day today. We are going to be tracking those warm temperatures as well as that mix of sun and clouds. So throughout the rest of the morning, we're going to be holding on to the 50s through at least about 9 o'clock today. A mix of sun and clouds will be the trend. Notice as we head through the later half of our morning into the early afternoon, we could start to see a few clouds begin to build their way in. Temperatures by 11 o'clock expected to rise, mainly getting into the 60s, but highs today are expected to rebound, getting back into the 70s. And then we're going to be tracking rain to end out the weekend. So keep it here. We'll have a full breakdown of that forecast, Susan, up next.